Namaskar. The concept that we are going to discuss in today's satsang is kind of tricky. Tricky because it's kind of trappy. Let me explain. When we are in a path of sadhana specifically, there is every chance that we might get into a kind of conceit that, oh, well, I am doing hard work in this sadhana, I'm really following a path, especially if it's a spiritual path, or even if it's a combined, omnidimensional kind of path where there is your spiritual aspects, physical aspects, and all these are combined. It really always doesn't matter. You might fall into a trap. And that's what we're going to talk about. That even if your path is and your practice is quite disciplined, still there is every possibility that you might fall into a trap. And this trap is going to prevent you from really getting to where you could. And there are quite a few of these traps in the Karma Yoga for 21st century path itself, or this Fit for Life program, which is about learning about this whole sadhana paddhati, or this process of practice, daily routines. There is a very high probability that without even us getting to know or understand, we might fall. You might be trapped in a particular trap, or you might be just trapped in what we call fallacies. What are these traps or fallacies? Or you might just trip as you're along this path. You might just trip and fall. See, typically what happens, you trip on something that you cannot see easily, or you are trapped in something where the trap itself is not very visible. You are not cognizant of the trap. That is when you get trapped. So we have to be extra careful, extra cautious about these traps that are hidden there in the path of sadhana. So only then, and in order to really understand these traps, we have to cast away our arrogance and be really humble to understand these traps exist, and we are all prone to falling into these traps. Now, through this concept of pragya kaushal sadhana, which is really translates to wisdom, skills, and practice, that is every day we start the sadhana and end the sadhana. We kind of bracket it with the seva mantra, of which pragya kaushal sadhana is a part. And pragya means wisdom. Again, as I already mentioned, kaushal is skill, and sadhana is deep committed practice. So this wisdom is what we are talking about today, because these traps are what help create the knowledge about these traps, and applying that knowledge in our day-to-day life creates a kind of a pragya or wisdom about which allows us not to fall into these traps even when we are using the best techniques and we are practicing them. So that's the importance of pragya, and in these sessions, the satsang sessions are really directed for creating pragya in us. Pragya as in knowledge or wisdom. So it's information, knowledge, and wisdom. Information is plain information. Then when we process it, it becomes knowledge. And when we apply it in life, we say it is translated into pragya or wisdom. So today we are, that aspect of wisdom that we are talking about is really what we call traps. There are many traps that we have documented or kind of listed out as part of this whole journey, as part of this whole regimen of Fit for Life and Karma Yoga for 21st century that we talk about. But the one that we are going to talk about today is called the horizontal vertical trap. What's it called? The horizontal vertical trap. As we all know, horizontal, the meanings are fairly clear. Horizontal is anything that is kind of lying down like this, everything at the same level. This is horizontal. And when it stands up like this, we say it's become vertical. We can take anything. We can take this and say this is now horizontal. The moment it stands like this, we say this is now vertical, right? Vertical, horizontal. So Horizontal is lying down, vertical is standing up. Nothing much to explain. Everyone knows that, but still I kind of take a little bit of time to make these obvious things a little more kind of rub it into each one, because of the simple thing that the more obvious things are, the more we kind of neglect them and don't notice them. So that's the reason. So pardon me for rubbing these simple things in during as part of these satsangs. We try to keep it not more than 15 minutes, so it's not a long time. But sometimes it seems even 15 minutes is dragging, mainly because I kind of try to talk about these very obvious things and I repeat them because there is a value of repetition. So please pardon me, even if it sounds a little boring, but the things that we cover in this are very important. So horizontal, vertical, trap. What is the nature of anything that is horizontal? The nature of anything that is horizontal is that everything is at the same level. You can see this one is horizontal, so everything is at the same level. Whereas when it becomes vertical, like this, vertical, then things are not at the same level. This one is at a higher level than this point. So there is a difference in the level here. So horizontal, vertical really connects with a difference in the levels. Vertical is difference in level. Horizontal is everything is at the same level. This point, this point, this point, all the points in this are at the same level. Level is also something that we understand, very simple, but you will see how these connect and how we kind of miss out the wisdom part of all this. Now, levels, this up and down, is connected with our sense of values. See, look at this. In most languages, I'm speaking in English, and in English, obviously, we know that anything that is up is used to denote a higher value. Higher value. See, I'm using the term higher. Higher means more valuable. Lower value means less valuable. Just the numbers. Numbers, when you stack them up, the larger numbers are kind of stacked up. We say stack up and stack down. Something that is the lower numbers are things that are down. So this up and down, high and low is connected with a sense of values. Now this is part of linguistics. Metaphors we live by. I remember there's a great, wonderful book and wonderful work done by linguists and philosophers who've come together and then really researched how metaphors in language really create our mindsets. The mindsets that we live by. So the book is called Metaphors We Live By. So this high and low is also part of such a kind of metaphoric, being that becomes part of our conditioning. So you see, levels, by the nature of how we use language and how we use symbolism in language itself, and how language becomes part of our subconscious, unconscious, conscious kind of living being that we are, it influences us, and we kind of try to denote that anything that is a level up has more value, and things that are at a lower level has less value. So it's connected with our value system. That is the importance of levels. Now, when we are saying something is vertical, there is a possibility of stacking things as per our sense of how valuable something is. And horizontal means everything is the same value, everything is equal. Now, there is a possibility, and that's the trap that we are talking about here. There is a possibility that things that need to be or should have been kept at an horizontal plane have been put into a vertical plane. That is when we do this, when we make this mistake, that is when we are saying we have fallen into the trap. So I think the only way to explain this properly is through examples. Let's take two concepts, the concepts of countries. Now we take two countries. Now two countries, just the concept of countries is a horizontal concept. Now countries cannot be stacked up as higher and lower. But specific aspects, when we are comparing, we can compare specific aspects. The roads in this particular country are not as good as the roads in this country. So with respect to roads, this is higher and this is lower. That's clear, we can do that, no problem. But if we say this country is higher and this country is lower, this country is better, that country is worse. The country concept has no better and worse, no higher and lower, no more valuable, less valuable. Country is just a country. Within the country, we have to look at what we are valuing, take particular aspects, and then put them objectively as per the value, the value system. And because the when we do judgment, it's a very subjective thing in any case. So we have to become nirapeksh, as they say. We have to become objective. We have to become unbiased, and only then we can do this. This becomes easy when we are not attached to when we are comparing two countries which are none of which I am connected with, which I come from, which I'm a citizen of. It's easy for me to kind of compare specific things. But when it's so, if I am from India and you're from America, I kind of identify myself as an Indian, you identify yourself as an American, we will tend to kind of just as a lump sum put these countries. There is a possibility, tendency that you might put America here and India here, and I might put India here and America here. So we are really falling into that trap of putting countries into a vertical, stacking them vertically, whereas country is horizontal concept. In the same way, human beings, we as people, we as each one as a human being, and our karma, what we do, our actions. If we look at these, so our actions could be part of a verticality, but we human beings are horizontal beings. Are horizontal. The concept of each individual is horizontal. Now, within me, on a particular day, I may be running a bad nose. I may be running a cold. So that part of me is kind of down, less valuable, or I may not be able to run a 100-meter race as speedily as Usain Bolt. So on that aspect, he is higher and I am lower. On that aspect, higher, lower. But we cannot say that this individual is better and that individual. We always make this mistake. He's a good man, he's a bad man, and all that. That's not so. Man, woman, she's a bad woman, and she's a wonderful woman. Now, the woman, the concept of woman, her act, this particular act, a specific action, a particular aspect of hers could be put, as good, bad. But the woman herself, there may be a center of gravity. Most of the actions might be giving us a bias to classify her as generally as good or bad. But those generalizations is where we get trapped. So we have to be very careful. In the same way, spirituality and material world, we tend to these are horizontal issues, but we tend to peg them vertically. Sometimes people who are in deep spiritual practice, they will put spirituality higher and material world lower. Those who are fully into the material will try to always justify and say material is here and spiritual is here. But obviously, if we have neglected one of these dimensions, there is every logic for a particular person or a particular advisor to advise that, hey, you put your spiritual aspects of your life, give it a little more value because you have neglected them for a long time. They have got depleted. So in order to make up, you need to give more value to it. That's fair. It's a very dynamic and a occasion to occasions, case specific judgment. But you cannot just put spirituality here and materialism here, or materialism here and spirituality here. Then you are falling into a vertical horizontal trap, as we say. So that's really we can keep giving more examples, but more than giving those examples today, what I would urge you to do is really find these examples from your life and see where you and everyone around you generally and sometimes fall into these traps, the horizontal and vertical trap. That's all for today, folks. Have a great day, take it easy, and take care. Namaskar.